This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief has been brought to you or powered by Kolossal Games and their newest game on Kickstarter, Terrors of London, which is a Victorian horror-themed competitive deck builder, which y'all should definitely check out. They were going for a $12,000 goal. They're currently at $54,000. Just over $54,000, and there's still about 2 weeks to go as they're ending on the 19th of August. So definitely check out Terrors of London. Now we join Getting Geeky with Game Relief as he's got somebody else on the podcast with him tonight, like usual.
Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Billy was born with the ability to see all ghosts and interdimensional creatures. Since his youth, he has helped ghosts solve their problems and has gained respect and allies along the way. Now he is a ghost detective on his greatest case, tracking down the head of the ghost mafia, Leonardo da Vinci. As the trail gets hot, the battle gets hotter as hellish creatures invade Earth and instigate war and carnage.
While Leonardo da Vinci took the seat of head of the Ghost Mafia centuries ago from the murderer Barbarous, he did so with great reluctance. All this time, Leonardo's actions have been manipulated by Satan, who holds the soul of Mona Lisa hostage for leverage on Leonardo da Vinci. He is a powerful spirit who lets nothing stand in his way.
Satan is the center of evil intention and destruction that has been let loose on Earth. He promises much to tempt anyone off their path, but he rewards them with eternal suffering if they do his bidding. He has many lieutenants and would sacrifice any or all of them to win this battle with heaven.
Did that sound familiar to you guys? It didn't to me neither, even though it was part of the whole spiel there that you just heard. But that is the story of Necrotopia Handbook to the Apocalypse, a new role-playing game that's currently on Kickstarter, and tonight we're lucky enough to have on the creator and mastermind behind this great handbook, Keenan. Is that correct, Keenan? Is that how you fall in line with Necrotopia Handbook to the Apocalypse?
Yeah, that's some of the story to it, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We really appreciate it, Keenan.
Thank you.
No problem. So before we get into this, let's rewind a little bit if we could. We don't have to go back too terribly far, of course, unless you were born into tabletop role-playing games and whatnot. But how did you get started into playing role-playing games and whatnot?
Into role-playing games? I guess since I was a kid, I loved Zelda. Was probably the first RPG I played since the first Zelda, and also played Dungeons & Dragons when I was a kid with friends, and a lot of RPGs over the years. College, missed a lot of classes in college too, to Final Fantasy 7 and 8.
Awesome. So did that pan out okay? Now you're like a Final Fantasy, you got a degree in Final Fantasy instead?
Yeah, well, I took Masters, so yeah, it went through.
Well, there you go. Awesome. And have you ever gotten into the tabletop role-playing? Well, no. Have you ever gotten into the tabletop board games, or have you strictly stuck with role-playing games, both video as well as tabletop?
Yeah, I mean, I like all games. I'm willing to try anything. I like board games as well, yeah.
Awesome. So besides Necrotopia, because if I let you pick that one, I don't know what my audience would do as it's your game. At the current time, do you have a favorite role-playing game and a favorite tabletop board game?
I've played Pathfinder, I've played D&D. I mean, I like Final Fantasy. I like all kinds of role-playing games, Fallout, whatever, video game or pen and paper, yeah.
Oh boy, so just a whole slew of them, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's your favorite thing about role-playing games, would you say?
The creativity. Developing Necrotopia really gets my creative juices flowing. And, the opportunity to create something new. And that's also, anybody who plays the game also gets to create something of their own as well.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, not too much for creativity, or I don't feel like I had much. But talking to my friends, I graduated from high school about 20 years ago, and a couple years before that, me and my friends sat down and played a role-playing game. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it was Middle Earth role-playing back in the late 90s.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we sat and played that with me and a bunch of friends around a sewer pipe in our circle or whatnot. Had to move when cars got in the way. But they were telling me a while back ago, I have a bad memory, but they were telling me back a while ago that I had my special ability, or I guess my special item that I had, we each were allowed to go back into our present day and take an item back. And for some reason, I had something. It was a rubber chicken filled with nitroglycerin or whatnot.
Sounds cool. That's funny.
Yeah, so that was kind of funny. So before we get into the meat of why we had you on the podcast today, let's go ahead and pause so we can talk about some other Kickstarter games in our Kickstarter Corner.
What is this place? What is it doing here in the Leaves computer? Oh, it's Kickstarter Corner with the Leaves.
A couple of great games coming to you on today's Kickstarter Corner. First off, let's get on. First off is Clustered, 2nd edition, a strategic card game. Battle your opponents by placing cards with matching attributes next to each other. Can you out-strategize everyone to win? Well, can you? Obviously, I couldn't. If you go back and listen as I played against some of the Little Leafs on a podcast a while back ago, I didn't make it out alive. Well, of course I'm still alive, but anyways, we did a preview of the 1st edition, as well as I had Scotty on the podcast a while back ago. But definitely check out Clustered 2nd edition, which is ending this Thursday, so it's coming to a close. So definitely check that out. It's only $15, so you might want to get in on it. It's a really fun game from Scotty at Sculpin Games. Next is Incoming Transmission, a co-op sci-fi pixel board game. Incoming Transmission is a 16-bit inspired cooperative puzzle game for 2 to 5 players or more. It takes about 10 to 30 minutes and is by the designer of Fire of Eidolon. I love the box for this game as it reminds me of the Super Nintendo box. Plus, gameplay sounded really fun when I had Ian and Michael on to talk all about it. You can go back and listen to that episode. And either way, you should definitely check this out before Friday, the 10th, as that's when the project draws to a close. So definitely check out Incoming Transmission, currently on Kickstarter. Next, you might have heard this interview last week if you're listening. If not, go back and listen, as you can always do that. Is Villains and Henchmen. Villains and Henchmen is a board game for 1 to 4 players where you get to be the bad guys. Yes, sirree, Bob. In this one, you and your friends are trying to break a villain out of a high security prison, and it's 95% cooperative. And the other 5% is what I like, as whoever is the victor of the game completely be the villain, and everybody else gets to be the henchman. I wonder where I'd fall in line. You could probably guess. I'd probably be one of the henchmen, as I usually get slaughtered in games around here. Anyways, I definitely encourage you to go check out Villains and Henchmen, which is on Kickstarter, for another 2 weeks, ending on Sunday the 19th of August. And last but not least, this is a new one you may not have heard of, but it's All-Star Lineup Baseball, a fast-paced tabletop baseball game. And we'll have the creator from Barstool Games on to talk all about it this upcoming Wednesday or Thursday, so definitely stay tuned to hear when we talk with Craig about it. But anyways, All-Star Lineup Baseball is a fast-paced, head-to-head or solo baseball action game on your tabletop. Definitely check this one out. It sounded great from when I was talking to the creator. On other baseball games, I guess, you have to go and constantly looking up stats and whatnot. But with this great game, you have everything on the table and the cards that you have, and it plays really well from according to talking to him. And plus, you can go try it out for free. Yeah, you can go download and play about 80% of the game for free before you back it. So definitely check out the tabletop baseball game and listen to our interview coming up, like I said, on Wednesday or Thursday. Anyways, let's go ahead and get back to that great interview. And now the word on the street, Keenan, is you have a new role-playing game, or handbook at least, on Kickstarter. What can you tell us about Necrotopia Handbook of the Apocalypse, Keenan?
Yeah, Necrotopia is a role-playing game, pen and paper. You can play it with two or more players. It's an adaptable D6 system that has pre-made moves and monsters, but you can also create your own moves using the template we have. And there's no classes or anything. You're going to come up with everything's in the book to create a character very simply. Within 5 minutes, you can create a character. And this is supposed to be a fast played RPG. It's easy to create a character, easy to do one session within an hour or longer of a game.
Okay, when you say fast play, what's that mean? Is it like a one and done, or is it what does that mean, a fast play RPG?
As far as character creation, doesn't take that long, and a game session doesn't take that long.
Oh, okay, awesome. And so is it a one and done, or what do they call them? They call them a one shot? Is it one shot or?
No, it's not a one shot. No, there's a long storyline. I mean, this game could go on forever. It includes 5 apocalyptic events that are like world changing and travel to multiple worlds using portals. There's many examples of places you can go in the book, and it's ever evolving. There's a lot more characters and places planned, but also a lot in the book that is going on Kickstarter.
Oh, okay. So there's a lot more in there than what you call it. And you talk about fast character creation. So could you take me through what it would look like or sound like? I guess this is a podcast after all. What character creation would look like if I was sitting down to create a character with you, Keenan?
Sure. Yeah. In the book and even on the Kickstarter, there's an example of the character sheet, which is really simple. There are very few stats. The main thing you're going to do is create 3 moves, and there's a list of template moves. So you create your name of your character, 3 moves, and starting weapon, and then you roll a d6. You roll 2 d6. You roll a d6 to do your health, 25 health plus 1 d6 to start. You start with 2 armor for your hit rolls, and that's it. There aren't no other stats in the game. So it's really simple to get started. But you get more moves with each level. You can create a new move or increase the power of your other moves. So it just evolves in its complexity as you level up. It starts out very simple, but you build up your character over time of playing. So there's not much initial start time. It's just the way I like games, and I think it's a fun way to do it.
Well, that's pretty cool. So when you talk of moves, I see, I'm looking at the Kickstarter page, and it's got like special moves and basic moves, or base moves and special moves. Is that what you're talking about? You get a new move each time, each level, or whatnot?
Right. You're going to start with 3, and then it's got space on the character sheet to write more as you level up. So every time you level up, you can take one of the templates and drop a move in, or you can level up one of the moves you already have. And you could also just create your own move that's of a small starting power of anything you want. You know, you could change the name on one of the moves on the template to fit your character, whatever you think your character should be, as what kind of character you're creating. This an apocalyptic world.
Awesome. And you say apocalyptic world, that could take place anywhere, couldn't it? Or any time frame, or a specific century, or when does it take place?
Our story starts in the present day, but what I wanted to create is a setting and world where pretty much anything can happen with your imagination. And you're on Earth, and you know that hell is invading Earth, but they're opening portals that allow them to travel here, and then you can use those portals, close theirs, and then travel to other worlds that are outlined in Necrotopia. So yes, there's even possibility of time travel, and that's one of the things we'll go to in a future book, and multiple apocalyptic events. So yeah, you could put all kinds of genres in here however you want to introduce them, like the type of character you create, it's gonna evolve the story in your game.
Oh, okay, awesome. And any type of character, because I remember on the actual Kickstarter, it looks like one of the characters, well, from that story that they just heard, it's a ghost detective.
That's a heroic character. The ones that we read are each heroic characters, and they have stats also outlined in the game. So any character that I mention has got a stats in the book. You're going to start at level 1, of course, but they start at like 15, 20, or higher levels. And you can also use those. There's going to be a game maestro as one of the people playing, and they're going to set up and outline where the heroes fall in, where the characters meet. And then after that, you just pop in a bunch of pre-made monsters that are in the book, and you've got a game.
Yeah, so that's cool. Just reading over his character, whatnot, the Ghost Detective reminds me of a book I read, a little bit of the series of Dan Shamble by Kevin J. Anderson. He's a ghost detective, I think. Have you ever heard of that?
Cool. No, I haven't read that one, no.
Yeah, they're pretty funny, but yeah, he's like a ghost detective or whatnot.
Yeah, this is based on a story that I started in 2009, and the name of the book, Necrotopia. In 2009, I made this simple system with D6 with a bunch of friends of mine, and just made the system and played it, and then started writing stuff and making notes. And I wanted to write a book called Necrotopia, and I came out with an outline for that, and I still got that. But what I did was I combined all my RPG ideas into one and came up with this setting that could include a lot of stuff. And about a year and a half ago, I started writing the book. So I've worked on this for a year and a half, writing it. And I gathered some artists, paid the artists up front for the original art. And we're almost on our final draft, and we're on Kickstarter right now.
So why Kickstarter, Keenan?
Yeah, well, I'm an indie person making this. I don't have a game company. I'm a part of a company. And yes, I did write this from scratch myself. And I've been gathering art for it. It takes a long time, to make something like this. And I'm not done with the book itself. I'm doing some final tweaks, but I do have a draft PDF. And, it's an original work. And I want to get it out there. And Kickstarter is a great way to publish. It's never been published anywhere before.
Well, there you go. Awesome. So you said you took it over the last year and a half. You've written it. I know you said you got working a little bit of stuff out, but pretty much is it written? Because a lot of times I get when people come and they still have a lot to work left to do on it.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Well, I had original version that I tried to release earlier on Kickstarter, and I still had so many edits it didn't look like I was going to get it out in time. So I stopped that Kickstarter back in May this year, and then just tweaked it for last month, and then re-released it last week.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask about that, because it looks like that one got to a 74% funded before you canceled it. So is that what happened? You weren't done, and so you got it further done?
Yeah, I was going to make major revisions where I wanted to combine two books, the apocalyptic story about Satan invading Earth, and also Ragnarok and Norse legends, which I put in this one too. So and also I was getting in more art, so I did wait a little while before I released it again.
Okay, so more art and stuff. Is that there was a little bit of an increase in the two different projects in the funding goal?
Well, yeah, I also increased the number of pages. I went from 20 to 30 color pages throughout the whole book, and the price went from like $14 total printed with my cost to $20 for one book. But yeah, it's still, you can get a PDF for $10 on the Kickstarter. That was the same. But yeah, reworked it and made it better.
Oh, okay, awesome. So if somebody likes what they've heard or whatnot, and they go and check the Kickstarter page out, I know you don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but if they back the project, when would they plan on getting Necrotopia Handbook of the Apocalypse?
Yeah, I just need a month to get everything together to ship them out, the physical copies. So the physical copies will be mailed in October, and then I've got some stretch goals. my artist Justin Barnes, who did the Billy Tate and the Leonardo da Vinci Ghost art, is making T-shirts of his art with the original design. So those are going to go on well, that's not up there yet. This stretch is going to go up soon. T-shirts and a physical copy of the book, and we've got prints up there, 11 by 17 art prints of his and Shane's work. So yeah, we've got some stretch goals, and those will be delivered later too.
During playtesting, was there ever anything you had to scrap because it just wouldn't work for Necrotopia?
No, I just added more and fleshed more out, really. I've playtested this about 10 sessions, more than that really, with 9 different players of ranging experience with RPGs from most of them were total beginners actually, and they liked it and they had fun playing it and would play it again, and I played with the artist Shane, who lives near me, and a couple of my friends who are experienced in RPGs. We've played about 7 sessions of a continuing storyline, and we've got one recorded live stream on Twitch right now.
Okay, and is a link there on the Kickstarter page if somebody wants to go ahead and check it out?
Yes, there are game sessions on one of the updates.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, we'll make sure we leave links in the show notes or whatnot. So when it comes to Necrotopia Handbook of the Apocalypse, what would you say the thing you're most proud of about this is, Keenan?
The creativity involved. I love creating new characters and events in the storyline. I've got outlines for different things that are going to happen in the future, and there's so much. So you'll be involved in that creativity too when you play this game. You can create your own story from the templates I have, and it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. And is there so many? I know usually it seems like RPGs have so many stories or so many adventures or modules or whatever they call them nowadays. Is there so many included in the book?
Yes, there's a lot included in the book. There's enough for a huge campaign in the book. And then what I plan on the next publications we do for this is going to be campaign books through all 5 apocalypses that are so far in Necrotopia. There's going to be a campaign book for each one that's going to have maps and stuff like that. So there's some run through of campaigns in this one, but what I want to do next is campaign book with maps, setup of what monsters you'll face. So I'll be the game maestro to run people through 5 different huge campaigns.
Awesome. That sounds really cool. Now, per se, somebody's fallen asleep or they have just, maybe one of their kids took off with their phone and they suddenly got it back. And so now they're listening. You have their full attention now, Keenan. Why should they take a chance on Necrotopia Handbook of the Apocalypse, especially with all the other great tabletop board games and RPGs out there currently?
Oh, there are definitely a lot of great ones out there. This is just another story that could be in your collection. And we have a low price point for a fun game. Try it out for $10 to get the PDF and, help us create more. If you like what we have, it'll help create more, and our artists get paid up front. And, there's a lot to see in this one.
Well, there you go. There you have it. So, yeah, definitely go ahead and check it out. We'll leave the links in the show notes so that people can go ahead and at least come over here and check out the Kickstarter page. Now, I know you said you listened to a couple of our previous episodes, so maybe you're ready, maybe you're not. But the next portion of the show is called Adventures in Application Acquisition, where we talk about an application, be it for your cell phone, your tablet, your computer, or even a video game. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be related to apocalypses or RPGs. Is there an app you use a lot of that we can talk about for a moment, Keenan?
I use a lot for Necrotopia. I use Google Drive so I can look at files and send files to people all the time.
Yeah, Google Drive is pretty good. Like a lot of times you can't send emails because they're too big, so that you put on the drive and then you can share stuff with them and whatnot. If you own the rights to Google Drive, what would be one thing you would do to fix it or make it better, Keenan?
Let's see. Have I run into any problems with that? Oh, well, I did have one problem where the file I uploaded lost a font all of a sudden, but it came back a few days later. That was on one of our files on Necrotopia. That was a little strange, but it came back, so everything's good.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that would be scary.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, glad it came back. So, yeah. So, definitely it sounds like Google Drive in Keenan's book, especially if it's not going to lose its fonts, sounds like a pretty good app.
Yeah.
Now, minus coming there to your hometown to stalk you, Keenan, and find out what's going on with Necrotopia, how would people go about keeping updated with Necrotopia and whatnot?
Sure. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. If you look at my name on Facebook, I'm on there. And we have a company page. I haven't even made an LLC yet, but I do want to try to make a company called Troll Hunter Gaming. And right now it's just me, but, I own the rights to Necrotopia, but yeah, we might get something going with that too.
Yeah, we don't want to keep you all night. I know you're kind of tired, but we wanted to thank you for coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief with us tonight.
Thank you, Blake, man. It was a lot of fun.
No problem.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.